Hello all, welcome to Sand Compounding. This is Sandeep, Anand. I'm starting a new series called 20 for 2030. And what does that even mean? For investors, in investing, the formula of compounding, which is very powerful, and the formula is P into 1 plus R by 100 whole to the power N. And N is an exponential factor. N is nothing but, we all know, it's a time invested, time we invest in the capital is invested in a business, or the tenure as we can call. And the tenure or longevity of our investment is very important because if we make investments in businesses that can sustain for 10 to 12 years with a good level of growth and at the right valuation, we are made home. The returns on the capital invested would be very high. Now, how do we find businesses which can run and which has such longevity of 10, 12 years, especially in today's world of disruption? Every business is getting disrupted. Erstwhile, no wonder Warren Buffett, the legendary investor, used to find businesses which are least disruptive and that can run for a long time with growth, and he called it as moat. While moat investing, I don't know if it's really that relevant in today's generation because all businesses are getting disrupted with the advent of digital and mobile and internet. Now, identifying such businesses is a very difficult task, and I have tried my best to find out 20 such businesses which can pay way till 2030, and come 2030, in hindsight, these businesses would have been great to hold for such a longevity period. Now, how do we find these businesses? I've applied the principle of inversion, which I learned from Charlie Munger, and we look forward to 2030, and when we look back in hindsight, the inversion principle, based on that, what businesses could and why those businesses could sustain till that period is what I've done. So here are such 20 stocks, and one most important thing, not in investing, not all businesses are great investments at all point of time, but most point of time. So there could be reasons being valuation is one important factor which can control the time when we enter into a business. If there are frothy valuations, our returns would be mediocre. So it's very important to identify great longevity, great businesses which has longevity and at the same time that has good growth and the right valuation. So, but this could be a blueprint or a watch list that we can use to identify, and when the correction happens or recession happens, these great businesses could be a great entry point, could give a great entry point. Hope this gets interesting as we move on. One such business in 2030 is Shopify. This is my favorite. Founded by Toby Ludke, Shopify is a Canadian-based commerce platform. They're empowering merchants to set up, design, and set up storefronts on their platform and run the retail businesses. It's kind of democratizing entrepreneurship or commerce platform. It's a very powerful concept and can create longevity, especially considering that Shopify is a first mover and it's created a network of roughly 1 million merchants. They're empowering 1 million merchants in globally around 175 countries through multiple channels of digital and 5G being the future for the next decade. They are in the right hem of the things, especially empowering merchants, and they are kind of replicated on the premise of success story that ran for Alibaba in China. Shopify has great management and they're continuously innovating and growing inorganically. Valued around $33 billion and little high valuation that way, but considering the longevity ahead, it'll be a great business to add to the watch list of 20 for 2030. And here is an analysis I have done deeply to see why Shopify came as part of 20 in the 20 list. Shopify as a platform provides merchants with a powerful back office and a holistic view of their businesses, from payments to shipping. Shopify currently powers over 1 million businesses in approximately 175 countries and is trusted by brands such as Unilever, Kylie Cosmetics, Allbirds, MVMT. Now, Shopify, to understand very briefly, has two business segments broken down into the first one being subscription solutions, where Shopify's merchants pay a monthly subscription fee for using its platform, and the fee ranges from $29 to $299. And this segment is growing approximately 40% year on year, and in Q2 2019 they fetched around $150 million. And increasing revenue in this segment is driven by the growth in what they call as MRR, that's monthly recurring revenue, and that growth is due to an increase in the number of merchants joining the Shopify platform. Now, the second part of the business vertical is merchant solutions, pretty much adjunct services that entails revenues from payment processing fees, transaction fees, referral fees from partners, and sale of POS, that's point of sale hardware. Now, merchant solutions revenue grew 56%. It's even faster than the subscription solutions, and it was almost $208 million in Q2, and this is driven primarily by the growth of GMV, or the gross merchandise volume, nothing but the volume of merchandise that is being sold, as well as the growth in Shopify's capital and Shopify shipping. Those are all adjunct services that are provided for merchants. Now, gross payments volume, GPV, what they're calling it as, accounts for around 40% of Shopify's GMV, and Shopify payments, it's occupying almost 40% of GMV of Shopify, and Shopify capital issued around $93 million in merchant cash advances and loans in second quarter of 2019. So that's an increase of 36% over last year. So Shopify Capital has been a recently launched service. It's a new business line for as part of the merchant solutions, and this is a great initiative because working capital, what is required for the merchants is provided by Shopify, and everything is within the platform, and that's the beauty of this business. So the merchants don't have to go outside to look for any services, right from shipping to capital to loans to the other service like payments. Everything is provided, including the storefronts. Now, Shopify Capital is also now offered to merchants outside the platform, and this is a big growth area for any commerce platform. Now, if you see, PayPal and Square has also grown tremendously by providing loans, capitals to the merchants outside and on their platforms. Now, Shopify has revenues, profitability, and segment wise analysis. We'll see they firm reported a net revenue rise of 50% in 2019 and is expected to generate around $1.5 billion in 2019. So they are creating roughly $1.5 billion every year, and it's still growing at 50%. Now, around gross profits are pretty high, so that's the beauty again, 55% gross profit, and they're growing at similar clip as revenue, that is 50%. Now, operating expenses were high in Q2 2019, so it resulted in operating losses. Now, here is the thing, for such platforms which is creating massive network and bringing merchants on board, these kind of platforms are adding value by putting the operational expenses, so-called OPEX, back into the business, and they are plowing back the OPEX back, and it's the OPEX is the CAPEX in these kind of businesses. There is no additional capital they are taking from the markets. They are just reusing the cash flows and the operating profits back into the business, and we can see that the considerable amount of the operating expenses goes into building back the platform. Now, 33% of the revenue is spent on sales and marketing to bring the merchants on board. That's a significant volume to bring, in advertising to bring the merchants on board. Another 24% of the revenue is spent on research and development. So that's how they're developing new services and solutions for the merchants, and Shopify fulfillment, shipping are all part of that strategy, and the platform itself is becoming more robust and flexible for the merchants to put the storefronts, and so the platform is getting improvised with the spending that they put from the revenue, and overall operating expenses forms around 67% of the total revenue. That's a big number. Now, they are expected to have a loss of $100 million in 2019, so they're still loss making, but I would say pertaining to the operating expenses, those are creating value on the platform. Now, balance sheet strength and ratios, very high level. They have a cash of $2 billion, debt of $24 million. That's negligible considering the cash in hand. Operating cash flow is around 9.3 million, maybe around 10 next year, and free cash flow is negative $32 million. Obviously, the money is getting plowed back. Now, market cap is around $35 billion, a little higher when compared to sales. That's 20 times forward looking, only on that factor, but that's not really a gauge of any measure of valuation. The order of magnitude of the business that this particular company can scale up, bringing the merchants on board, is significant, especially now that they just scratch the surface in international business. Now, the combination of factors of growth at 40% and gross margin of 55%, the valuation might not seem stretched. Now innovations, this is a continuously, as I said, the OPEX is going continuously to bring in innovation in the platform and value additions in the platform. Now Shopify fulfillment network was an outcome of that, which will provide merchants with a network of distributed fulfillment centers and utilize machine learning to ensure timely deliveries. So the technology is being used to improvise the experience for customers. Now the new Shopify Plus platform, that's a new platform that helps enterprises, merchants manage their business at the organizational level with greater control and wider visibility across multiple stores. So multiple storefronts are possible and a comprehensive view is given at an enterprise level for merchants. That's a new Shopify Plus platform. And they have native language capabilities for international merchants, multiple languages, customized, internationalized for the merchants, and shipping for merchants within US and Canada markets, and finally Shopify Capital for merchants to manage cash flows and working capital loans. Now, why I think Shopify would have been a great business when we look back in 2030? Very easy points based on my perception. So here, OPEX is the new CAPEX for technology platforms to create value, scale, and services that increases market value. Democratizing entrepreneurship, as I said in the beginning of the presentation, that democratizing entrepreneurship and retailing is a very powerful concept, and the business scalability is way too high with a powerful platform. All they are investing in the platform and providing adjunct services and merchant solutions, and this can scale. Merchants has the feel factor of ownership of their own storefronts, unlike Amazon where they are just a supplier. Here they own the storefronts, they design it, they build it, they name it in their way, and they manage it. And so building their own online store is just few clicks, which is very easy. Network effect is very high once the merchants are on the platform, and repeat businesses increase prospects, and this is especially a subscription business, which is very attractive. Now brands like Unilever, Budweiser, Tesla are all migrating to Shopify. That will underpin the longevity roadmap. Now even celebrity endorsements like Kylie Jenner, the Kylie Cosmetics is a big hit, Cristiano Ronaldo, CR7 is a hit. They're all starting their business on Shopify platform, and these strong brand endorsements for Shopify will act great in future. Now this is the beauty of this business. Anybody can start a business, anybody can start a retail store. That's the powerful platform they have created. Now adjunct services we already saw, which makes it easy for providing the services, and also helps Shopify increase their revenue streams. Shopify just scratched the surface in domestic and CA and Canada markets, and they have huge international markets yet untapped. They just present in countries, but the market is not yet market share is not yet gained fully. Ease of business and prominence of importance given to merchants makes it a great feel good for entrepreneurs to stick to the platform. Now unlike super large e-commerce retailers we know, where supplies are squeezed and with tough contracts to resell the brands, etc., there is no such pressure here. They have all the ease of doing the business on the platform. Economies of scale will start kicking in when volume as well as merchants increases beyond a point. That's very obvious. So the fixed cost kind of becomes stagnated at some point, and the platform build is no longer required, and any further increase on the merchants volume and the GMV would only add kick in more revenues for Shopify. Now that will reduce operational losses hopefully, and very innovative and strong management ethics leading growth organically, while at the same time doing smart acquisition to aid growth like the artificial intelligence and things. Now that's an overall view, and that's why precisely Shopify is part of 20 for 2030 list of SAN compounding. Thank you all.